Hi, this is my reflective video. I'd like to talk about first the differences between the new and old model. The Terminator limbs have been completely remodelled. This is due to the fact that they had no structural benefits to them last time, as you can see, it was literally just cylinders and spheres the majority of the time. This was because there was no real reference images to go by to model them from. Greg gave me a Terminator toy to work off. This helped a lot during the process of these modelling situations, as the images on Google were just a lot of Terminators in explosions and the heads of them, so it wasn't very useful for limbs. The shading and the shadowing on the character have changed a lot as well. This is due to using bent normal maps and ambient occlusion, and just the general difference in texturing style. As you can see, the harsh markings on the back where it was just painted in instead of lighting sources adding it in through maps in max and x normals. The gloves and the boots have been added in, well, the gloves and the foot pads have been added in to incorporate extra feel to the character. These were added in last time due to the fact that I ran out of tries, which, looking at it, I don't understand how. This middle section here was missed out, as a lot of the lecturers said it was unrealistic due to the fact that the rib cage wouldn't be supported at all, so it couldn't be done and the character would just collapse. This is the comparison between the proportions of the character. As you can see, the difference in where the belt comes through and the actual structural benefits of the character's limbs. I mean, you can see the difference already, whereas this one's just a lot of straight lines all the way down instead of any actual benefit from the curves in the body. This is a comparison between the two of them. This just shows how much more muscular the character has been made and how much better it all fits into what it's meant to look like in the overall design. Where it's cut off here, it actually looks damaged and ripped apart on the arms. The clothing actually comes away from the body instead of being pushed down. This is because there's no gaping holes in the mesh anymore, it's a full body mesh underneath. The damage has been added using opacity maps to the legs and the trousers to add a better feel and a more realistic touch to the character. These are the old texture maps. As you can see, the layout of them is not very good. I mean, the skin's all separated. The unwraps of the hands aren't anywhere close to the same. The ears have been cut out. There's just a lot of holes in the mesh, and the unwrap of the face was at a slanted angle, didn't work. The normal map, these were the Terminator limbs that were used by automatic unwrapping, and it just wrecked them completely when I tried to put the normal map on. The gloss map has been completely missed out this time, due to the fact that it wasn't necessary in the new character. The new maps, however, have been laid out a lot better. The skin is all together here, apart from the face, which was just a separate island on this UV map. The clothes are all together, and as are the Terminator limbs, apart from the two sections which are obviously here and here. This made it a lot easier to texture it due to the fact that there was no overlapping of colours, and any overlapping that did occur, it was pretty much the same colour within the model, so it didn't affect any of the shading. The normal map worked a lot better on the Terminator limbs, as it was added in and all of them were unwrapped well to line up with the checkers that I applied to them. The clothing map as well didn't have any of the harsh markings on it. All the markings on this one are how they wanted to be, because the deformation of a gi in like a judo gi doesn't look like flimsy, it's quite a solid object, so it works better this way. Solid no, the subsurface scatter map, sorry, works well this time because I've gone to the effort of adding in sections of blood where there's obviously more of a see-through pattern when light's applied to them, such as the ears, the end of the nose and the fingers. The maps down this corner are just for the eyes and the eyelashes. This was plainly because I couldn't get the shine that I wanted on them before just adding them in on the same map. So the mask and then the opacity, specular and diffuse were added to the eyes to make them shine basically instead of just being flat. Specular map obviously here, that specular map could have been better, but I didn't have the detail from the normal map showing through strong enough to add specularity to the clothes. This is just a progression of my models, so this is a base mesh, sculpt, retopology with normal map, textured and UDK. This is the sculpt progression. Obviously there was number 1, which wasn't the best, 2, which the muscle got better, 3, the muscle was far too defined, 4, parts of it were far too raised to work, 5, it got better than it was, and number 6 is just with the clothing and Terminator limbs applied, and then this section down here was just all the sculpts together just to show the overall effect, which are all on the forum. This is the 3ds Max model in T-pose, and that's the UDK model in T-pose. The wireframes have been added into this just to show that they are done, and the edge flow in the polygons. This has been added for a much larger image on the forum. The rig was added during the final stages. This was added in Mixamo along with an animation, just purely for presentation purposes. These are the high resolution images taken in UDK, just to show off the character. Obviously they're a lot bigger on the forum as they were taken at 4K resolution. This is the setup in UDK. There was 3 directional lights. There was the rim light, the key light and the fill light, and then this camera here was what the movie was rendered out in. It was rendered in UDK using the Matinee sequence and the Matinee Movie Maker. The movie is actually 40 seconds long. This is because I wanted the character to rotate on the axis where it is. The animation is repeated over the 40 seconds, but the movement track spins the character around slowly just so all the detail can be seen when looking at it. This is the texture map for the entire body and anything but the eyes basically. The 2 multiplier nodes here were added on the subsurface scattering just to get more of a control over what was happening with the shading being produced by that. The eyes, a bloom effect was added using a vector into the eye mask just to make it glow like the Terminator's eyes do in the films. This was to get a more a better look to the Terminator limbs within the character. This is the final comparison between Paul and my character. As you can see, the hair is a lot more defined at the top, so I could have done with having a cylinder plane going round, texturing that and putting an opacity map into it to give it some detail when you're not looking at the top. The scorpion tattoo here was missed out just due to error of not seeing it there. The foot pads on this model here, they are purple, but mine's got black in it. This was just plain to separate it more, as though the gloves are how the pad is raised off the glove. The bands here were missed out due to another error of not seeing them. The specularity in the actual gi, this looks like it was added through an NVIDIA filter due to the shine on it, whereas mine was added in ZBrush, so I couldn't get the detail that I wanted out of the normal map to add the shine that's here. The rips look fairly similar on the clothing, however, because of the detail within the materials, it looks a lot better on their model. I could have done with raising this section out just so it looks like the belt is pushing out the model. Thank you very much, that's my reflective video.